everybody. Welcome to the Dating is Hard podcast. I'm your host, Joe Welkie. You can find out everything you need to know about this podcast at datingishardcomedy.com. Follow the Instagram at datingishardcomedy. Follow me on Instagram at Joe Welkie. I update about this show all the time. The Dating is Hard live show is every fourth Wednesday at Pack Theater. It's a by donation theater, so if you want to come to the shows and you got extra money to spare and you can throw it the theater's way, please do. But if you can't, you can still enjoy all of the theater's great shows. If you could subscribe, rate, and review, tell a friend about the podcast, that'd be awesome. And this is the Dating is Hard podcast. I meet all of my guests, 90% of my guests through dating apps. We talk about the experiences in the world of dating. And that is how I met my guest today. And she's got some interesting stories about how she made her very first Tinder date cry on their first date. So, without further ado, please enjoy my sit-down interview with DiDi. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dating is Hard podcast. This is Joe Welkie, and you guys know how I meet 90% of my guests is through dating apps. I have profiles that say, hey, read my about me, and then it all explains, like, hey, I'm here, I got a podcast, want people to come on with their most unique, fun, interesting, crazy, whatever stories about dating. And that is how I met my guest today. Everyone, welcome to the show, DiDi. Thank you for doing the show, DiDi.
Thank you for inviting me, Joe.
Oh, you're so kind.
You're the kindest. I'm so happy to be here.
So I connected with you via Tinder. We matched.
Yes.
I told you about the podcast. You're like, sounds cool.
Yes.
How's Tinder going for you?
Tinder has been a wild roller coaster. It's my first foray into dating.
Into dating apps?
Yeah, it is. I got it almost a year ago. No, I got it in November of last year. Out of boredom and curiosity, and I was like, I'm scared. What is this? And I thought that it was so low stakes, so it was like, fine. But it's been crazy.
But the stakes have risen.
The sticks the stakes are risen. No, yeah, the stakes are much higher now.
Now it's a game of life and death.
It's a Game of Thrones, no. But yeah, it's been crazy. I made my first date cry.
What? You made your first date cry? What did you
Yes,
do?
and write a song about it.
He wrote a song about
And he
it.
sent me, yeah.
What happened?
So
We're getting into the meat of this immediately.
So the first person I ever decided, I was like, okay, I'll meet with you. We talked a lot on texts and voice messaging things. And it seemed like we got along great as oh, this is fun. But also keep in mind that I just didn't know how all of this went. I didn't know that, people were weird. But we decided to meet up. And right off the bat, I was just like, uh-oh, this is not going well.
What made you think that?
Okay, so we met at a bar. He's like, can you pick me up? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Strike one.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is fine. And then as soon as he got into my car, he wanted to make out. And I was like, I didn't even have I didn't have time to process his face. Yeah. But the thing is, I wouldn't have cared if he didn't take a cigarette. Okay, I smoke cigarettes. He took a cigarette.
Ew, gross.
I know, it's hot.
You're like one of the cool kids.
No, dude, I'm certainly not cool. I've been smoking since I started smoking when I was 12 because my mom smokes. And I was like, okay, I told my sister, who's a year older than me, I was like, hey, Izzy, let's start smoking. Oh, shit. It doesn't matter. I was like, Izzy, let's start smoking. But as soon as we get addicted, we'll stop, which is the stupidest thing.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, no, I just... Okay, sorry.
Once it's really hard to quit, we'll quit.
Exactly. So I was smart at 12. And that's how I got addicted to cigarettes. But he But the thing is, he was in my car, and he took the cigarette out of my mouth and threw it out the window. And I was just like, okay, first of all, you can't, like, cigarettes cost like $10 a pack these days. Second of all, you're in my car, buddy. You can't just, like, take things out of my face.
Yeah.
And throw it out the window and litter, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm so turned off already. And I don't want to make out with you, of course, because of all that. But then I think he sensed it. Oh, he didn't sense it. I told him. You're
like, hey, he's like, you want to make out? You're like, no, I hate you.
Sorry. I was like, dude, that's so uncool. And I told him exactly that, but in the nicest way I could. I was just like, dude, like, that was my cigarette. And, like, you know, you don't just assume that you could do that. We're not buddies yet. Like, I don't know you.
That's super rude.
Exactly. Thank you. And then...
Especially because, like you said, like, cigarettes are mad expensive now.
Exactly. And it's like, didn't you want to, like, at least, like, just keep it in your hands? And I didn't even get to talk to him. Like, why would I mean, face to face. So
he, like, got in the car, didn't say a word,
Yep.
took a cigarette out of your mouth,
yes,
threw it, and was like, let's make out.
He just...
started leaning in?
Yeah, he was just like, he grabbed the back of my head, and I was like... Ugh. And I was like, hey, dude, you just, like, littered. Because that's the first thing I thought of. But then I was like, and also, cigarettes are expensive. And he smokes, too. So.
That's just, like, disrespectful, though.
Right?
Like, to just take something...
From someone.
From someone's mouth.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we went to this bar afterwards. And it was a bar that I chose. And he was like, this place sucks. And I bought the drinks, too.
Oh, my God.
I know, because I was just like, I felt bad for, like...
reprimanding him?
Yeah, exactly. For censuring him. But then he just gave me more reasons to do so. And I was just... I didn't say anything after that. I was
What was the bar?
It was...
Is it a cool place?
I thought it was cool until you said it, and I never thought it was cool afterwards again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he ruined it. It's a place called The Little Easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's in downtown Los Angeles. It's sort of like a speakeasy. It's, like, underground. It has a huge fountain and, like, swings. It's, like, sort of...
That sounds really fucking
right?
cool. Swings?
Yeah, it's like, well, one swing. And
now it's not cool at all. Now I'm with the guy.
Now you're that person.
I'm siding with that guy.
No, but I was like, dude, why would you tell me that it sucked, you know?
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything. We got the drinks, and I was like, okay, do you want to go to my friend's art show that he's throwing at this, like, warehouse? Because my friend had just done a music video for Young Thug.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the Chanel, the song was called Chanel, I think, and he just did, like, all the graphics for it, and so he was, like, celebrating. I was like, do you want to come with me? And he was like, yeah, and I was like, okay, cool.
You're like, fuck. I was banking on you saying no.
A little bit, but we went there, and he just started crying.
At the thing.
Yeah, he was, like, smiling.
In front of everyone.
Yes. And my sister was there, so he met my sister, and he was, like, tears running down his face. I was like, what's the matter? And he was like, I just thought we were gonna fall in love.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. So I took him home, and, like, he was like, are you gonna come in? And I was like, no. And then he sent me the song, and it's called Tinder is the Night.
Tinder is the night.
Like, tender is the night.
Is it good? No? She's shaking her head no.
It's...
What kind of... Is it like emo?
It's the same melody. I could show it to you, but I don't know if I should. It's like the same thing over and over, and it's literally detailing every single thing. And he kind of, like, makes a big deal out of things. I'm like, I didn't do that.
Is it on, like, SoundCloud or something?
No, he just emailed it to me.
It's just a private song specifically for you.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
I know. I was like, that's a... I guess that Tinder date the first time wasn't that bad, but he'd been on there for years, and I was like, he's like, I've never cried on a Tinder date. I was like, I don't expect anyone to really cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Who would cry on a...
That's what I'm saying. I was like, do I have to expect
Man,
this?
man up. That's your intro to fucking Tinder.
Man up before you talked. No, but it was intense.
That sounds very intense.
Yeah, but it's not as intense as, like, a neon...
Yeah, it told I told DiDi about my bad first date story. I don't know if I've
It's
actually.
kind of amazing.
I don't know if I've actually talked about that on this podcast
Please
before.
do. It was actually a good story.
All right, I'll tell it now.
It's so good.
So I was living in New York. I had just moved to New York. I think I was like 22, and this was before Tinder and everything was really like mainstream. I don't even know if it was around, but I was on OkCupid. And I had been on OkCupid like when I was in college, like my senior year, because I was just bored and like was looking to see what was out there, and it was the only like free dating option.
Yeah.
And so I matched with this lady who had like kind of like very contrasty pictures. Like
She looked hot, right?
she looked good in the pictures. Like I could see like how it would be an attractive person
Right.
through the pictures. This was like also around like the MySpace,
Exactly.
the end of MySpace, when MySpace was like all contrast and like,
That was me.
yeah, dude, me too. I was all about that shit.
High angles.
High angles, dude. Do you remember that YouTube video, the MySpace movie?
No, I have never
Oh,
seen
dude,
it.
I'll show it to you after this.
Okay, you're gonna have to.
But so anyway, I matched with this woman, very contrasty pictures, and she messaged me and she was like, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, you up to doing anything today?" And I had just got there and I was like, I didn't have a job, so it was the middle of the day. I had nothing going on, so I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll meet you." Which I now know is a red flag. Like if someone's like, "Let's meet up in like an hour."
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it because that person doesn't have anything going on, and that's
I learned this from you.
yeah, it's not.
It's
That's a
fine.
bad sign. So, anyway, so I met up with this lady. We met up at like I think it was a Starbucks or some kind of hot coffee place in New York. And I'm dressed like I got a t-shirt, jeans on, regular shoes, whatever.
Like a normal person.
Like a normal human being. This lady.
good-looking person.
Oh, stop it.
I'm-
Stop it. Flatter me.
Go on.
This lady shows up to this coffee house. It's a pretty busy coffee house. We're in New York City. People in New York love their fucking coffee. And she's wearing neon blue leopard print leggings. She's got a hot pink pleather zebra print skirt on. She has a neon blue My Little Pony shirt.
That part kills me, but the next part kills me more.
Yeah, she had like a big pompadour with hot pink streaks in it and like cat eye glasses, and it's just like that kind of person, you know?
We all know exactly who that person is.
Yeah. And so she's like really loud and obnoxious, and she's just like very full of herself, and she's like talking about like how hot she is, and she's like, oh wow. And everybody in the coffee place is like looking at us, and they're like looking at me, they're looking at her, and then they'll look back at me, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm here. This is happening. Yeah, I didn't expect it to be like this either. Like, I don't know what you don't have to be on this date. Like, that's what I'm fucking dealing with right now.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, why are you?
Yeah, it was like weird. But anyway, so we're like, I don't really remember much of what we're talking about because like she was going through a divorce or something, and she was like, all these guys are in love with me, and I was like, well, I had just moved to New York. I was living in Astoria, Queens, and I was like, oh, so what part of town are you in? And she was like, I'm not telling you that. And I was like, why? And she's like, because if I tell you that, you're going to end up in love with me and stalk me. And I was like, you don't got to worry about that, baby. It's fine.
I love that part because it's like, who does she?
Yeah, well, I mean, apparently she had a bunch of guys that were like fawning after her, and like, it was a problem for her. So she was like, the last guy I told what neighborhood I lived in, like he stalked me, and like he was just outside my door all the time. And I was like, oh, okay.
Don't worry.
But it's also like it's such a general. That'd be like, oh, I live in Silver Lake. Like, how am I gonna find you?
Right?
If you just say like a general neighborhood, you know?
New York is like the most populated like state.
Yeah, it's
right.
Well, the city, yeah.
Oh yeah, New York.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
So it's going poorly. I decided like let's just. I was like, oh, I gotta go do something. That's always like a great comedian excuse. That's what's one of the greatest parts about being a comedian is if you don't want to see somebody, you have a built-in excuse of like, oh, I got an open mic that I'm going to, or like, oh, I got a show or something.
Oh shit.
So, I was like, oh, I gotta go to this open mic, and it was like 5 o'clock. And but there are open mics that are that early, but I didn't go. I was just like, I want to get away from this. So we're leaving, and as we're leaving, she like blocks the door, she blocks the exit, and she says, "You're not leaving until you give me a kiss." And I was like, we don't need to do that. Like, it's fine. Like, it's totally cool. We don't need to do that. And she was like, no, I'm not getting out of the way. And like, I tried to like just move her.
Right.
And like, I also can't forcibly move her because then I'm like a man attacking a woman, you know? So I was like, no, we don't need to do that. And she's like, you're not leaving until I get a kiss. And so I kissed her on the cheek. And she goes, ugh, are you kissing me on the cheek? What are you, my grandmother? And then so I gave her like the meekest, most forced peck on the lips where I was just like if the kiss on the cheek was a grandmother kiss, like the kiss on the lips was even worse. Like it was bad. And then she was like, okay, you're good to go. And so I left and I was like, oh boy. Lesson learned, contrasty photos, no bueno. People wanting to meet up in an hour, no bueno. That's not a good thing.
That's much crazier than any of the dates I've been on.
Really? Yeah, I mean, it was like so long ago. Like I got, I guess, Me Too'd before Me Too.
That's exactly what I was like. You got hard. She was hard.
Yeah, yeah. She more Matt Lauered me. She was like, you can't leave.
Dude, have you seen that SNL skit with Christopher Walken? And he's like,
oh, the Continental?
Yes.
That's her. I used to love the Continental. Yes. Now it's creepy as fuck.
Exactly that. She was asking you for champagne. Yeah. There was a kiss.
It's just so gross, and she was so nasty.
Ugh.
So you just got on dating apps like a little over a year ago, right?
Yes.
What were you doing before that? Just meeting people in real life like a fucking weirdo?
Yes! Like, can you believe it? I'm like, ugh. I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, I was dating people in real life. I had like, I had a year where I had 3 boyfriends.
At the same time?
No. Never, ever. I've never had any boyfriends at the same time. I've never lived. No, I'm just kidding.
I guess I've never lived. Looks off into the distance.
Ponders. No, but...
Jumps off cliff.
Wait, are there any?
No. We're on the 3rd floor.
No.
I could do some damage.
No, I know. I like my legs.
Yeah.
No. But I dated like a crazy person from like real life. And then I dated a teacher who was like awful. He was like an English teacher. And he was just like the most... he was so full of himself. He seemed really cool at first, which is what I've noticed is a red sign now. Like someone's If
someone seems cool,
are you?
If someone seems cool, they're a fucking murderer.
Joe, you have to realize that like people are just assholes. No, he's not a murderer. He was just a narcissist, and I hate using that word because it's like it's such a like hot word now. It's like sustainability. Narcissism,
gaslighting.
Exactly. Yeah. These are all such like words that feel like people are gonna be triggered from them. But this guy was just like actually full of himself, so much so that his last roommate, who was still his roommate when I started dating him, left the house and like forced him to move out because he was like, "You're a narcissist." And I was like, "Oh shit, I should have listened to that guy." Because
how was he a narcissist?
He was like, everything's about. He honestly, he tried to kind of sneak his way into everyone's life and then make everything about him. Like, he stole people's girlfriends and told them, he's like, you don't need anyone but me. And I was like, okay, I tried to see his point when I was with him because I was like, yeah, that's okay. And then afterwards, I broke up with him because I was like, you're a narcissist.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're just like my roommate and everyone else before me. And I was like, I should have seen it.
It's like, yeah, you might see a recurring problem here, guy.
It might be the common denominator. That might be the main thing, but I don't know. I was like super into him. which is gross to say.
Yeah, I mean, narcissists, I feel like, have a way like that where they get you like under a spell.
No, exactly. And like, I think I don't know, it's hard to get out of that because that's the person that you started liking and you expect that person to be like the same, but it's kind of, I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, I had a friend that was like under the spell of like a super, super narcissist, and he was just like, wow, I love this guy. And
was he older than him?
I think they might have been around the same age. It was an interesting thing because the guy that was under the spell was a gay guy, and the guy that was the narcissist was a straight guy, and the straight guy was a super like Trump supporter, and so the gay guy like got under his spell and started to like go rally for Trump and everything, and it was crazy because I knew this guy before he met this narcissist, and I was like, this doesn't seem like you, man. And then after they had like a huge blow up where he was like, dude, you're just like a narcissist. Yeah. He's very much like calmed down on like he might still like support Trump or whatever, which is whatever. But
that's insane to me.
Yeah, but he was like all about it. And like in recent times when I've seen him, he's a lot more chill. Like he doesn't really talk about that kind of stuff anymore. Yeah. But for a while, like that was his life.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was weird.
How do people like do that to other people? You know, it's kind of crazy. Like,
I feel like there's a part of it where like the narcissist doesn't even realize they're doing it. It's just like that's who they are, and they're like, this is how I interact with people.
Right, and I don't think that I don't even think that it's so black and white. Like they're bad, they're good. It's more that they just don't see themselves as like doing what they're doing.
Yeah, that's just like how they live. This is what I do to people. This is like how relationships work. And people like get obsessed. It's like they're cult leaders.
Yeah.
But like in relationships, it's very weird.
Yeah, and like they probably feel a lot of pain when the other person like loses that like disillusion. Like they become disillusioned from it. Like, oh my god, I'm not that perfect.
Probably when you broke up with the guy, he was probably like, whatever, fuck her, she's dumb, and you're like blah blah blah.
Dude, he should talk to everybody that.
There you go.
And I was like, that's a problem.
Well, when you were dating him, was it like you gave up time with your friends because of it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened with my friend.
Yeah, dude, it was insane. He got mad at me for having guy friends, and I was like, I told you this from the very beginning. Like, I've never made it ever. Like, I never made it a mystery. It's like he knew, but he got mad at every single guy who talked to me. He's like, they're trying to F you? And I was like, we've known each other for years. You just came into my life. If we haven't effed, like, obviously it's because I'm just not attracted to them that way. Yeah. It'll never happen. But I don't know.
So, believe me, if I wanted to F, I would have F'd.
They would have been so F'd right now.
If I wanted to F, I'd be F'ing him right now. Think I'd be F'ing you if I wanted to F him? Love your vernacular.
I love that you made it like actually a thing that's like, I want to say it from now on for the rest of my life.
Hey, you trying to F?
Are you down to F? Okay, so moving past the F thing. I'm like drawing it out. Tinder's weird.
Yeah.
Tinder's really weird.
So that first date was with the guy crying. That was the weirdest one?
Not the weirdest one. There was this other person who I was talking to. He also lived in New York, but he like moved down to LA. We had talked for a while, but I didn't really want to meet him just because it was sort of too involved. He like would send me so many voice messages, you know, the things where you just I sent you one.
Yeah.
He sent me those like constantly, and they were like 5 minutes long, and I was like, I can't, like my phone would die in the middle of it. Like it was just like, I can't do this. But when we finally met up, he was like the most full of himself person I'd ever met. But like he was also he paid it. Okay, so I'm just gonna say something that totally like contrasts that. He was
say
full
whatever you feel comfortable saying.
He was full of himself, but he also seemed really interested in like, you know, me. Mm-hmm. But he just did stuff that I couldn't like look past. We were at this bar, and he started talking the table next to us, like people he didn't know. And I was like, okay, whatever. I think he's trying to be charismatic. But he did that for an hour and didn't pay attention to me at all. And I got so annoyed that I just was like, I'm going to the bathroom. So I went outside and I called an Uber and I left. And it took another hour before he even called me and noticed that I was gone. He was like, hey, so where are you? And I was like,
What are you in there taking a shit?
Dude, actually, I think he might have insinuated that. But I was like, I'm gone. I'm at a show because I was supposed to go to a show anyway. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, you took so long to even notice I was gone. Like, it doesn't matter. But I told him what show I was going at before I left. So he knew what show. It was at the Echo.
Yeah.
And so he
I guess showed up there?
Yeah, he showed up there. And I was like, no. I was so scared. And like,
Take the hint.
Right? And then he ordered a drink. And the people I was talking to, who I just met that night, they were really nice. So he did this stupid thing where he like did a twist with a drink in his hand. He tried to be cool and do like a Michael Jackson turn, and he knocked the drink out from the girl's hand that like was next to him. And she was so pissed. Not only that, he fell on the fucking floor when he did that and embarrassed himself. And I was just like, this is so bad. I couldn't like.
Yeah.
Okay. He did a twist. He fell, knocked over another girl's drink. I had to reiterate that because I was so embarrassed. I don't know if it was for me or for him, but I was like, okay, are you okay? Okay. And then I called my friend who lives like right around the corner, who I also met from Tinder. I was like, you've got to pick me up. And so I ran across the street to the Burger King. Like an asshole, dude. Like an asshole. And my friend made sure to let me know. He's like, you're an asshole. And I was like, yeah, but I need to get out of here. And I turned my phone off, and then we just ate like mashed potatoes the rest of the night.
Just ate mashed potatoes?
Yeah, we just ate mashed potatoes. And he was like, you're an asshole. You need to tell him. And I was like, I don't need to tell him anything. I didn't tell him to come.
Yeah.
I
feel like you should have gotten the hint when you left the first place, and you're like, yeah, I'm not feeling this. Like, you ignored me. Goodbye.
Right.
And then he's like, well, I'm just going to show up and I'm going to win her back with my sweet dance moves.
It was my sweet dance
Fall
moves.
Immediately on the floor.
Exactly, on your face. And like, I was just like, this is so bad. And before then, we were in an Uber. And the person who was driving us, he I can't even say it.
You were in the Uber with the guy that you were going on a date with?
Yeah, to go to the bar.
Okay.
And then we walked a bit of the way and then we like drove in an Uber, but he was like trying to talk like him, but he was making fun of the way he talked.
Oh.
And like, I was just like, you can't do that, dude. Like, it was a cultural thing. Did
the guy have an accent or something?
It was like more like he was making fun of like the entire culture by like trying to like seem cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, because the driver was like, ugh. And I was like,
he was doing it in front of the driver?
Yeah, he was talking to the driver with that voice.
With the accent that the driver had?
Yeah, he was like, I can't.
Yo, this guy's a dickhead.
I know. And
what culture was it? What accent?
It was more of like, you know, I'm afraid to say it.
Just say it.
It was just like, you know, a bonnet.
Okay.
And I know that's not the right term, but no one can sound cool saying it unless they're black.
Yeah, well, unless they were raised like that, and like that's just how they talk.
Yeah, and
if it's a put on, then
exactly,
it's very obvious and like
it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, you're not cool. Like they can only they can pull that off. Like it's their like you know, it's their way of speaking. And like a white guy, a white guy who was like not talking like that until then, you can't do that, you know, in front of them. I was like, I'm so done. So should we?
No, that's funny because like I had a comedian friend who he never said pussy before. And he was in a joke, he was calling someone a pussy.
Yeah.
But because he doesn't talk like that and he's never called anyone a pussy, it sounded so bizarre coming out of his mouth, and he couldn't say it without it sounding like weird. So
oh no.
So he was like, does this sound right? It's like, this guy, he was a pussy. And we're all like, no, dude, like you don't sound comfortable saying that.
A pussy.
Like, you know, like there's a way that I talk, there's a way that you talk, and there's a way that, like, you know, a bunch of other people talk. Yeah. If you try to sound like something that you're not, it's very obvious, and it's so see-through and inauthentic. But if you authentically talk like that, I mean, even if you're a white guy that talks like that, but that's just how you always have talked,
then it wouldn't be so jarring.
It's not like, exactly. It's not like obvious. It's just like, oh, that guy, you know, like Eminem. It's like Eminem grew up in Detroit. Like, that's how he fucking talks.
Right. Exactly.
But, like, if you're a guy and you're like, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you, DiDi. It's very cool. Yo, what's up, motherfuckers?
Yes!
It's like, dude, what are you trying to do?
Dude, that's actually exactly how it went. And I was just like, I could not even respond to him. I was just like, I hope the driver knows that I don't approve of this and that I am embarrassed and that I don't think it's okay.
The easiest way to do that is you just look at him and go, why are you talking like that?
Dude, that's so true. I wish I knew.
Should have just, like, thrown him under the bus so hard.
I should have.
You weren't talking like that like 5 minutes ago. What are you doing?
Yeah, like, why are you, like, can you just, I just talked as, like, normally as I could just to let him know, like, this isn't okay. Like, you're making it seem like it's a fucking, like, joke.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. It was just like, ugh. But I've known people from, like, all races to do that. And I'm like, it's never okay. Like, just don't do it.
Yeah, my roommate is a black guy, and he was like, he always talks about how, like, whenever he meets a white person, like, 8 times out of 10 they'll try to, like, black up their language and stuff. God. And he's like, it's so awful and it's so fucking terrible. And it's
of
like,
course,
oh God, why would you do that? Like, I hate that shit.
It's cringy.
God.
Yeah, no, but that wasn't the first time that I ran away from him. I ran away from him again.
You went on another date with this guy?
It wasn't another date. I was just like, I told him everything. I was like, you were awful. Like, I can't handle you. And he was like, I'm sorry. And then we became sort of like friends for a bit. Like, I mean, not that it ever went anything more than that, but I was like, it seemed like he knew. We went to eat lunch together because he was in the same city that I was working in for a temporary job. He's like, hey, I'm in this city. And I was like, okay, cool. He's like, want to have lunch? And I was like, okay. We had lunch. He was driving me back from that lunch. It seems like it went fine. And then he missed my stop. And I was like, I'm already late. Like, you have to turn the next right. Like, you know, you picked me up. So, like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just kidding. And then he missed the second one. And I was like, I fucking hate you. So I just got out of the car mid-drive and I just ran.
You jumped out of the moving car?
He was very slow. It was in a roundabout area. But he missed the first 2 turns and I was like, this guy sucks. And we haven't spoken since. Yeah.
Oh my God. So there was a third person that you had. You said you had a crazy person. You had this English teacher. Who was that guy, the third person?
The English teacher I actually met because my sister knew him, and she was like, okay, this guy wants to meet you. And I was like, I don't even know.
Right, this was before Tinder.
Yes. Right. I got Tinder because of, like, everything. He was talking about Tinder a lot.
The English teacher?
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll, like, try it out after we, like, broke up. I had one more boyfriend after him, but that didn't work out. He stole my Ableton push, and I'm still upset about that.
What is Ableton push?
It's like this.
Is that the music thing?
Yeah.
Music making thing?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a sequence. Oh no, it's just a like it's a huge. I don't even know how to explain it. Anyone who's like making music who knows what it is will think that I'm a jerk because I don't know what to call it. But I didn't even have a time to like acclimate to how to use it until he was like, I'm gonna steal it from you. But
wow.
$600 down the drizzing. But that's just the stupidest thing. But okay.
Yeah.
What is another crazy date? I don't know. I feel like I can't top that Pompadour woman.
No, the Pompadour woman. That was like definitely the worst one that I've ever been on. There was one. Have you ever been on a date where like right immediately as soon as you see the person, you're like, nope.
Know. Yes, I have. I'm like, did you just give me a picture of you like 5 years ago? Because I know it sounds so mean, but I'm just like, physical attraction has a lot to do with like why you even swipe right.
Exactly. That's the whole point. Well, not the whole point, but like that's a huge part
It's
of
one of the main ones.
Tinder.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of factors to like take in. Like, oh, I think I'm gonna get along with them? Do they seem like they like the same music as me? I know that seems sort of juvenile. It doesn't really matter as much once you get older, but it sort of does. You don't want to have to explain like you're.
Yeah, you don't want to be like a metalhead dating a person that's like, I like bubblegum pop.
I like
Just
Italo disco.
Great.
Exactly. Italo disco is great though.
What is it?
Italo disco. It's just like Italian disco from the 80s.
Mm.
It's sort of like bubblegum pop, but like disco. Okay, anyway.
I'll have to check that out.
You're like, I'm never gonna.
I'll have to check that out. I'll write it in my calendar. All right.
But yeah, like, wait, has that happened to you?
What?
Where you just saw, well, besides Pompadour.
Yeah, I mean, I've told this on the podcast a couple times, where I met up with this one girl, and it was the first word that she said, and I was like, no.
What was the word?
It was just she was late to us meeting, and then she showed up, and I was like, hey, what's up, Joe? And she just went, hi. And I was like, nope, you're done.
Right?
Yeah.
Ew. It's like you.
She was an Instagram influencer.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. Well, what was your story with that?
Oh, I've never met any influencers.
No, I mean like where your first impression is like, oh no.
Oh, this guy. It's just the guy was just like he just looked so. I don't know.
Didn't look anything like his pictures.
He looks like an older, sadder, like a fatter, and like totally like I don't know. I thought he was into like cool things and like music, and like all the music like that he liked was not what I thought he liked. I mean, I match with people based on what I think that they're into, and it's sometimes obvious, sometimes the nuances are a little bit more obscure. But that's like kind of the fun of it, like you find out, oh, the picture of just my right eye, that's like a thing.
Yeah.
It's sort of an aesthetic, and it's sort of like a joke, but I like play on that. And his were just really, it ended up that they were just bad pictures. He had no like goal. He was just like, I don't know what to put. But yeah, it was awful.
Did you put a lot of thought into your profile when you're making
not
your...
at all. And that's the thing. But the thing is, I did put pictures that like, all my pictures, I never took them for Tinder. They were all ones that already existed.
Yeah.
But recently,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I have a rule where it's like, if you have pictures from over 2 years ago, get the fuck out of here.
Get out.
Have a friend take a picture of you.
Right.
Go somewhere where there's pictures being taken.
Right. The mirror pictures are a thing. I mean, I grab those. Most of my pictures are mirror shots because I can't count on anyone to take a good picture of me because I am not photogenic.
Oh my God.
No, it's true. I'll be like, Isabel, take it. Oh.
You already said her name.
Okay, I'm like, take a picture of me, and she'll take one. And she's like, it's pretty, right? And I'm like, I want to die. But I'm sure that people have thought that of me on a first date.
Where they're like, oh, she looks nothing like her pictures.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, I know who I am. So like, I try not to like put any pictures. I don't Photoshop or doctor any of my pictures. So I expect it to be somewhat like accurate.
Yeah, it's authentic.
Yeah.
It's what you look like.
Okay, good. Thanks, validation. It's
Yeah.
good.
Everyone always... The thing that I always get is everyone always thinks that I'm shorter from my pictures than I am.
I could see that.
Almost everyone that I've ever met from a dating app and like just doing this podcast, they're like, oh, wow, I thought you were going to be a lot shorter. I was like, what? What is...
It's the angle of the photo.
Yeah, it's a downward angle.
Right. It's
Yeah.
A bird's eye, not bird's eye view, but it's sort of I don't know.
It's definitely not bird's eye.
Yeah, it's not aerial.
It's definitely like a downward, but that's the most flattering angle because then you get your jawline. That's a flattering angle for everyone. We're talking about the MySpace angle.
It's true.
There's a reason why that was the angle.
But your angle, like, okay, if you tried face on, like, it would be good too.
Yeah.
Maybe you should do one from the floor and stand over it.
Yeah, just get a double chin shot.
I'm very tall.
Well,
He's 6'4".
Yeah. The funny thing is, so I take a lot of my own pictures, especially for this podcast. Like this, I took for myself. And when I take pictures of myself, my tripod is only so high. So most of the time I'm on my knees taking the pictures because I can't stand, because then it doesn't like, then you get like different parts of my apartment in it. So I have to be on my knees with like a backdrop.
You should do one of these.
Well, that's why I bought a stool recently. See that stool there? What?
He's gonna let
We're doing a photo shoot after this podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a picture of him. Because I'm like at eye level. When you sit, I'd be at eye level. I'm short.
Oh, so. I slouch super hard when I sit, and also when I stand, because if I stand up straight, I can't hear people because they're so far down.
Do you feel like an asshole?
Yeah, I'm just like, what? Say that again, louder.
Speak up, miniature.
Miniature.
I don't even know. Munchkin.
You don't know words.
We don't need words. So
yeah, words. So, who needs them?
Do you match with influencers a lot?
No, not really. I mean, that was like a one-time thing. I think it was on Hinge.
I was on Hinge for a week and then I left it.
Really? Why?
Because it was just too involved. I could show you like the screenshots of like the messages I would get. One of them was, they were just progressively creepier. One was like, "I love you," and
wow, just right off the bat.
That's all they said, and I was like, I need to get off this.
First message, "I love you."
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like literally, and I was.
Did you ever do Bumble?
No, I've only had Tinder and Hinge for a week, and that's literally it. I said literally like 5 times.
I always say that I think that if you're like looking for a relationship, I think Hinge is like the best one. Right,
but the thing is, it's like it's too involved in a way that I've never had like relationships come together in a conventional way. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm super like obscure and like I do things crazily, but it's like I don't.
Yeah, my relationships are pretty fucking unique. Smoking a cigarette.
I do want a cigarette. But no, it's just I've never really done the, oh, do you want to come on a date? Like, and we're gonna go do these things. That usually happens later, you know, for me.
Is it like you just hang out with the person as friends and they're like, yeah, hey, guess what? We're dating now.
It's like we sort of like, you know, every time it's different, but like usually it's like we just both know that we like each other and we're not friends. It's just like, oh, we meet and there's an attraction. Yeah. So dating online was super like daunting for me. I was so scared. It was weird for me. But wait, where was I? Where was I getting at? Oh yeah, Bumble no, but Hinge,
oh yeah, Bumble no.
Bumble never tried it. Hinge too involved.
Really?
I don't like answering. No one's genuine with like the answers that they have to come up with. It's more like I can't say what I actually mean. What can I say that makes me sound like more interesting?
There you go.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And that's why I think also, you know, that Myers-Briggs personality test? I think that's bullshit. I actually studied that because it's all bullshit.
I feel like it's bullshit too.
Because you're answering the questions in a way how you want to be perceived.
Exactly. And how you want to perceive yourself.
Exactly.
Too. So it's all just bullshit.
Everything's bullshit. Everyone's terrible.
Astrology is bullshit.
Thank God that you said that, even though you have a tattoo of a moon on your shirt.
I was drunk and 16 when I got a moon face and a balloon face tattooed on me, and now I've really identified myself, but I don't care. Anyways, so my name's actually...
There's so many zodiac people, like astrology people.
There's more people that believe in it than people who don't, I feel like, and I'm like, me and my sister are like, what the...
Yeah, I mean, there have been people where I tell them what my sign is. They're like, I can't talk to you anymore.
Oh my God, you're a Leo.
Yeah.
What are you?
I'm a Scorpio.
Oh my God, you're a Scorpio. That means you're like so shitty.
Yep, pretty much. I've had people where it's like, what's your sign? And I say I'm a Scorpio. And then I look back on my app, unmatched.
Are you kidding me?
Not even lying, dude. That's a real thing.
That is actually really awful. I think that's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it bases a whole person's character and personality off of their birthday.
Right. And it's like the only time I could see that having anything to do with it is, oh, I celebrate my birthday in winter, and maybe that's not as happy as if I celebrated it in June. You know, it's like a seasonal thing, but that's like more of a conditioned thing. But I can't understand like, I know people with the same birthdays, and they could not be any less alike.
Yeah. I wish that I was born in the summer because I'm born in like November, and it's such a bummer. It's always like cold. Like when I grew up in Baltimore, like it was always cold, and then I moved to New York and it's cold, and then like out here it's fucking cold. I was like, dude, the first year that I lived here on Thanksgiving, it was like 85 degrees. And I was so happy. I was like, this is going to be my life. I was at a pool party. I was like, this is great. My birthday isn't going to suck anymore. And then this year, it was hot the 3 days leading up to my birthday. And then the day before my birthday, it started to rain and it was 50. And then on my birthday, it was 50 and raining. And I was just like, well,
global
great.
Warming. It's awful.
Yeah. Fucking sucks, dude.
Fucking sucks a lot.
Yeah.
I feel you, though.
So do you have any deal breakers when you're looking at people on a dating app? Anything that you see that you're like, no?
Yeah, fedoras.
That's a first?
Fedoras, and when they're polyamorous, not because I have anything against it, but because I'm sort of like a one person, and I get too I guess
jealous.
Tunnel vision, and jealous. I do get jealous, but not in the way where I'm like, fuck her, who's she? It's more like a fuck you, you're disrespecting me.
Yeah.
It's like I know I deserve someone who's gonna not embarrass me in front of other people by like hitting on somebody else, and it's just like, I don't know, I feel like that's respect that you should have for your lover. Even if you were polyamorous, you guys have to just talk about things and like set up boundaries. And if I don't even know you're polyamorous, then it's gonna be even worse if I like see you doing that. But if I know you're polyamorous, then I know that I'm not gonna be good for you, and you're not gonna be good for me, because we're not gonna have the same style of like seeing things.
That's just not what you want.
Right, exactly. And I think it's cool that they can do that. I'm just like, I wish I was that. Like,
I wish I was chill like that.
I was always chill, and I wish I wasn't like insecure like that. But that's like what it boils down to. I don't know. I've never had the need to like be with a bunch of people at once. I feel like that kind of, for me, dilutes the experience, and I want things to have meaning. I want things to be significant, and I like don't have. How do people have the time?
Yeah.
I'm like I'm consumed by like one person, not consumed, but like I'm like, okay, like I'm
obsessed. I'm always with them.
No, actually,
when they sleep, I hold a knife to their throat and say, "If you ever leave me."
I've never been like scary. I've always just been like, okay, I'm about you, and I like, I'm about you, but I need my freedom. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to ask you what you're doing all day. Like, I want to be able to, like, not talk all day, maybe at all sometimes, and then be like, we're still good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there should be trust, you know?
DiDi. Nailing it.
Thank you.
Nailing that.
Dude. How was your last relationship?
It was okay. Actually, I got yelled at a bunch. I was always getting yelled at, and that's why I ended.
That's a good reason to end it.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was fun for a while, and then it like got really stressful, and then I was like,
it's not good.
Yeah.
What was she yelling
about? She had a job that was like really far away from where she lived, and she didn't have a car, so she had to take the bus, and that's a really shitty experience. Well, I mean, she would take her annoyances of the day out on me, I feel like.
No, leave it.
It sucks, but like, I mean, I understood why she was doing it. I got it. But I was like, I'm not going to stick around and get yelled at all the time. Like, I get why you're doing this, but I don't like it.
Exactly. Like, you're not wrong for feeling this way, but I also don't have to put up with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't deserve it.
Yeah, and I think I was also like, you should just quit this job. Like, you can get a job closer to you. Like, why would you take this job? And it was a bunch of just stuff like that, whereas I was constantly like getting snapped at, and there was just like some weird other stuff where it was like, nah, this isn't really worth it.
How long were you together?
Like 5 or 6 months.
Oh, that's fine then.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't
It's
like,
still
we were together 10 years. But
Oh my God, can you imagine?
No.
What was the longest relationship you've had?
Like 2.5 years. What about you?
Like 4 years.
4 years?
I was engaged.
You were engaged twice? What? We're 48 minutes into this. You just dropped that bomb?
I was engaged twice. Once when I was like 17 turning 18 with someone who was like, he was like my first love.
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of like, we had a thing since I was 14.
Yeah.
And he was like only a year older, so it wasn't like creepy.
Yeah.
But like, he's married now. He like recently got married. I'm like super happy for him. But he just cheated all the time.
On his wife or on you?
On me, and he cheated on a girl that he was with for like, she was an influencer, I guess, for MySpace. She had like pink hair. And she was like a scene girl, and like he dated her, and everyone knew her, and like they all knew who he was. But he dated her, and he cheated on her with me, and I didn't really know that they were still together. I thought that they were like broken up by then. I was like, I should have known. And then that was the last time we ever saw each other.
Oh man, were you a scene kid, like an emo kid?
Dude,
I can tell by your eye makeup that that's a yes.
Wait, maybe it's just dropped. No, I was a total scene kid. I was awful. If I showed you pictures of myself, you would laugh in my face.
I wouldn't laugh because I was also like kind of a scene kid, but I never got the style down. So I looked like this, but I was like totally into that music and all that shit.
So you were like a chill one.
Yeah, but I wanted to be a more legit scene kid.
Are you happy that you're not now, though? Because that's like such a bad memory to look back on. I was like, ugh.
Nah, I mean, it's funny. It'd make for some good Throwback Thursday posts.
I'm never going to do that. Like, it's just so bad. I was like, I love like Bright Eyes and like Finch. It was just so
Finch.
Dude, that was my first show at 11 years old at the Glass House in Pomona.
Oh, God. Finch. I haven't thought about that band in forever.
Right? The starting
What it
line?
is to burn or whatever.
Yes.
There was a band in Baltimore that covered that song, and I was like, I love this song. It was the
covered
only
Finch?
song I ever knew by Finch. I never listened to them.
That was the best song, though. I don't blame him.
Yeah. Bright Eyes. Oh, God.
I know.
There's actually a really good Bright Eyes song that came out not too long ago. I think it was called Four Winds, and I listened to it, and I was like, this is a jam, dude.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, we were
Connor
talking
is
about
doing
Elliott
stuff.
Smith earlier, too. Like,
Yeah.
we were all fucking... Ugh, so sad.
I
Such
know.
sad teenagers.
Oh, and we're still sad teenagers.
Sad teenagers in
So
my
sad.
30s.
I'm getting there. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
in like a month.
A month. Happy birthday.
A month and a half. Oh no, I'm not happy. No, just kidding.
Yeah, dude, I wasn't thinking anything of turning 30. And then the day before my birthday at like 8 p.m., my mom texted me and she said, enjoy the last 4 hours of your 20s.
Why would she do that?
And I was like, that's so sad.
You didn't even text me early enough for me to like
I
do
know,
anything.
right? I was doing this show in Fresno, and I was like, ugh. But show went
Thanks,
well.
Mom.
Got paid. Was sick. Shout out Dave Apkarian. Thank you for having me on that show.
Aw.
Anyway,
I think 30s are gonna be good though.
it'll be fine.
My 20s were like awful.
Really?
Yeah, I've had like a fraught.
Wait, what? Stop. What happened with these engagements? So the first one was the 18-year-old. You were engaged. He bought you a ring and everything?
He actually gave me his grandmother's heirloom. It was an heirloom diamond ring. And what I said was, he like made a dinner. I was 17. I went over to his house. He was living with his parents, of course, because we're teenagers.
Yeah.
And he got on his knee and he was like, okay, I want you to wear this ring. And I was like, what I said was I couldn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was the right thing to do. He got really offended. And I was like, wait, I thought that it would be rude if I took it, and said yes. But I took it afterwards, and then I found out he cheated, and I was like, okay, like this isn't not gonna happen.
Thanks for the ring.
Thanks for nothing. I give it back to him.
Yeah.
Well,
That's very nice of you.
Of course, it's nicer than the next one.
Uh-oh.
I lost the ring that night.
You lost
Yeah.
the ring.
And I feel
So,
so
what
bad.
was the story with this?
This person I was friends with for like years,
Mm-hmm.
and I never was attracted to this person. I just I even wrote in my notebook once, because I used to write a lot in my journal. I was like, I think that this person likes me, but I would never be attracted to them. But then one night, like, we just sort of started talking more, and like I think we got along, and he just kept asking me to hang out with him. We had mutual friends, like too many. That's how we even knew each other. Like I dated like 2 people that were in our like huge friend group, and so we kept it like sort of under wraps. No one knew we were seeing each other. And then we just like came out, and then after we came out, that sounds like so dramatic, but no one liked us together because they were just like, you guys are like so like different. And I was like, okay. And we were not good as lovers. It was just, we just were better as friends. We're still friends to this day, like super good friends. I love him so much. He's like one of the best people I've ever known. But he sucks as a lover for me.
So how did that engagement go down? How did he propose?
He proposed not on his knee. It was on
Instagram.
Oh
MySpace.
No, I didn't.
He put out a bulletin.
I didn't even have Instagram then. He did it on one of the. We were on a Ferris wheel. It's the one that goes.
Yeah.
Santa Monica.
Is that a Ferris wheel? Now you have me doubting myself. I think it is a Ferris wheel.
Yeah, it has to be a Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Because, it's not a carousel. It's a Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel.
Yeah, so I had no idea he was going to do it. Because we weren't even boyfriend and girlfriend then. We were, like, seeing each other. It never had a title. Yeah, and then
he was just like, you're the one.
Yeah.
You're the one that I want. Shut up, then I went up.
Grease!
Yeah.
We were just talking about Grease earlier. Because of Eugene, which is not...
Yeah.
Oh my god, I keep hitting the table.
It's fine. Just don't ever fucking do it again.
Dude, you should have seen his face. It was super intense.
I have a villain face.
No, it was kind of like... I don't know. Anyway... so I broke it off with him because it just was not.
Did you say no when he proposed?
No, I was engaged.
And then you had the ring, then you broke it off, and then you lost the ring? Or you lost the ring and then broke it off?
I lost it while we were together.
Oh, God,
it's
DiDi.
awful. No, I know. I felt so bad. The thing is, I was washing my hair in a bathtub, and because I had already taken a shower, I wanted to re-wash my hair. So I took the ring off, and I was like, I placed it on the bathtub corner. Then for some reason, I dropped one of, those little sample perfumes that Sephora gives you? It was glass. It shattered, and this is my theory. I think I swept it up with all that glass, and I didn't hear it clink because all of it was clinking. Because I searched everywhere, and it was still not there, and that's the last time I saw it. But he got me another engagement ring, and I was like, no. And it was way cheaper, of course, and I was glad, but we broke it off.
Was he pissed that you lost it?
No, he wasn't.
He was just like, oh, shit happens.
He's like, oh, you lost it? Oh. He's a really sweet guy. He's a really great guy. It's just, we're not compatible, is all. So, but that's pre-Tinder.
Yeah, I mean, that also, like, doesn't... it's so painful to break up those relationships.
That was so hard. I didn't eat.
Yeah, because it's like there's no reason to do this, but we're just not right for each other.
Exactly. It's so much heartache.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable.
I also still like you, like you want to be friends and shit. And it's like,
right.
Fuck you.
Exactly.
You stomped on my heart.
Exactly. And he also He slept with my worst enemy. Like
your worst enemy.
And I don't have enemies. Like this one girl.
It sounds like you do.
It was literally, if it was anyone, it was just her. Like she hated me.
Why?
And because
what's wrong with you?
we had a mutual best friend he liked me like romantically, and she was just using him for his house. She like stayed at his house, went on dates, and like made him like he kind of liked her too. But then she always led him on, and she was like really mean to his mom, who he lived with, and I was like, you can't talk to her like that.
Yeah.
And I sort of just like made them realize it wasn't my place, but I was because I was visiting, and I was like, you shouldn't talk to them like that. Like you're disrespecting these people, and they're Asian, so I was like, you're really disrespecting them.
Yeah.
And she got kicked out, and I didn't expect her to get kicked out because of like me saying that I didn't think it was cool for her to do that. And then she hated me ever since then. Understandably.
Understandable. I would hate you.
Yeah, but I'd rather be me than her in that situation because I'm like, you're so shitty that you got kicked out. Like, just don't do shitty things.
Stop being shitty and you won't get kicked out.
Exactly. And she used people, so I was like, whatever. But he like slept with her, and I was just like, wow, I guess that's payback. Guess I deserve that. Shit. Even though, right? Sorry, I'll never tell people to be respectful of parents again. No, but yeah, I tried to like be your friend a number of times. I was always like, hey, so like about
fresh start.
No, I was just like, about everything that happened, like I want you to be able to like talk about how you feel. Like I think there's a lot of misunderstanding because I didn't know her well. First time I met her, I walked into the room of my friend that she was staying with, and I was like, hi, and she just like looked the other way and didn't say shit to me. And I was like, am I seeing things? Am I going like, did that really happen? And then
threatened by you?
Yeah, I think so. Not for any other reason like than me having someone's attention that she wanted the attention of.
Yeah.
But when he came into the room, she was like, ah! And I was like, this is gross.
Sucked a bunch of helium.
Exactly.
Oh god, I had like throat gargle there. It was disgusting.
I'm trying to do it so you don't feel as bad, but
you don't have to. Yeah, I just feel bad. So we've been talking for a little while now. I'm going to ask you the last couple questions I ask everybody on this podcast. So, if you could change one thing about dating, what would you change?
I guess I would change the aspect of it just being like you show the most like favorable parts of yourselves in the beginning and have it not be who you are. Mm-hmm. You know, like, because I'll always fall in love with a person, and I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it because I'm sure that's happened. They've just never told it to my face like I told it to their face. You fall in love with like an idea of somebody, and like it's who you see, it's who you're shown, and it just ends up being so different, and it's so disappointing. But of course there's always the exciting part about meeting somebody new, like that's the same person but like a newer part of them getting deeper. But it's usually never the case. It's like people like tend to say that they're the exact opposite of what they are, and I would just want to change that part of everything. And also the, cheating parts. Because that part sucks.
All right, last question for you. What is one piece of advice that you'd like to give everyone listening about dating?
I'd say don't trust people.
Most cynical advice I've heard on this podcast, but it's so true.
Don't trust people.
Don't trust people.
And don't trust yourself, because people get gut feelings that are so wrong sometimes. Like you think that you always think you're right about something. You're like, I got a gut feeling. But like, you're just making a fool out of yourself. Like, I've been accused of things. I'm like, that is so stupid. So yeah, the moral of the story.
Your advice is live in a constant state of paranoia.
No. It's be as honest as you can be, and don't question shit, because it'll always come up to the surface. You're gonna find out sooner or later. Just be a good person, and be honest, and be hot.
There you go. Be hot. All right.
Oh, no. This is going to be my
DiDi, thank you so much for doing the podcast. I really appreciate it.
You're awesome. Time for a photo shoot.
There you have it, everybody. That was my chat with DiDi. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned some stuff. And, if you want to get info on the show, go to datingishardcomedy.com, at datingishardcomedy on Instagram, or follow me on Instagram at Joe Welkie. The live shows every fourth Wednesday at Pack Theater. It's a by donation theater, so if you got extra money to throw the theater's way, that's awesome. If you don't, you can still come out to the shows. And please subscribe, rate, and review. That helps. That goes a long way in making this podcast a bigger thing. Tell all your friends. That goes an even longer way of helping the podcast. So, I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy it. And until next time, later!